if you have one, two, one, two, hello, hi, hello, hello. Hello. It's coming. Yeah, but that will be. It's only when I'm close. Hello, 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 hello. Space there. Yeah, and to the front of the kente.
I have to because
Is
I
it
talked to my back.
Aqualam, Aqualam?
Damien, nice to meet you. I see you're
Atigo ba?
featuring from the Mafia.
Mali
What do we do is our project from the US.
ito tawag mo pa. Paano ka pa na sumama ka mo sa
Martha Art Center. It looks like a project store. What are you doing, Damien? Oh, no.
When you are playing alternative,
Relax. You're now.
it's when you're going to see.
Yeah, you're now in the land of chill compared to Lego.
Yeah. So when you're playing alternative, and then when you come back,
But there's business there. There's definitely business there. And how do you know it?
Jonathan, what's right? Right. He's telling that someone needs to connect to power. We can't touch his setup, so we need in here. Yes.
You should come and help.
Yes. Yes.
I beg.
No. If you touch it, he's done in a very delicate way. Touch it, you won't change everything. It will turn everything off.
Okay, go ahead.
It's all yours, mate.
Let's not touch out.
If you want to risk it, it's fine. Tell it. Let me do things like
It's the webcam.
We were at some reflection.
Yes, that's what I can't seem to figure out now.
Camera upside down.
no, it's a correction.
Yeah, no,
Point it at the board. When you point it right, hold it up.
well, this is, I really wish they could say that they told me that if I didn't get back to the next one, it was good on the flight.
Any idea?
So good luck. Have fun. See you later. No, I'm just trying to.
Hello? Hello?
Finally, though. After you leave, it's fine. She take a lot of background.
Today.
You don't need that.
But maybe I'm moving this chair. That sounds like she be hearing you. She respond. I'm not waiting
On the mirror image, how the mirror image learn about you see, you never need to use mental health. I always give you one horizontal reflection. Like the software for the source application, software application.
It sets automatically.
That's the problem. How?
Online.
No, there's a problem somewhere. You'll be surprised that this gets a virus similar to Yeah, I'm telling you. You'll be surprised that the virus has actually you don't know about it. I was doing something with my I was browsing the net once. Anytime I click my tab on it, tab I'm hitting the cross closing. No, so I make like the tab in the middle, open the tab like I open tab. Anytime I click the tab, close. So and then it's something online.
Let's see.
Check the make and see how it's setting. Something is wrong.
What underwear patch to make your part smaller. Okay, what? Okay. Oh, okay. Like she respond say she yeah.
Slowly they get feed.
She left, she go shop. Come there. Bread.
Let me check.
Yeah.
Oh, see, so you finish your so now.
You put myself like how much?
295.
300.
Yeah, the promo is over.
I could take the wicked boy. Wait,
How many? Me, I'll walk into one. We then I go to Charles now. We know they buy. I don't buy the promo. I only bought if the promo is like you should buy 30 gig of data and you get free Wi-Fi. So I bought 30 gig of data, which was like, and they gave me the. Why not go extra? Once they've left like 15 gig or something.
so if you 1 month or 3 months,
I don't know about the duration.
you will exhaust them.
So after you exhaust it, it's yours. Now you have to spend something. And now when you talk about it, it says on this. Yeah, it's more expensive than the banshee. Yes, like close to 50. Yes, that's all this stuff.
So they stop the promo.
Yeah, they finish Sunday.
ask them, say,
And then bring another one. We try to to Leo to he buy like 200 or something.
oh, we for clap for you guys. But like, we don't know. Have some say the year that no, it is different. So
Not in the head sound.
when they come, it's not like you and somebody else style.
It didn't pick from your laptop.
You pick from the laptop, but my laptop sound, I don't know why. So I connect this earphones. No Mac. But this is what I said. Heck, I left on the story building to come back down. I pick my team.
Then I get some inside.
Watch.
I get some inside. I left my bed in body. We pick the machine. We add water.
Come out.
So I'm just about to leave them. The next I pick it up.
Yeah, this one the water going inside. You know what I do? I just put down for rice inside.
And the rice is soak.
The soak out. Just 2 days. I want them pack. Then you see water from here. This is my machine. I say I won't get Samsung Note the notebook Pro. Yeah, the Pro.
The one we have in
Yeah, at the same time. Then that one I put this one for my head.
Really not for heavy need.
Video editing, graphic design. Like, just think of what this machine is. The resolutions will check. No, it said me well. This one machine. You know how much I'm buying? Those times, maybe 900. I feel like 700 last time. I'm no pay. Right now, I feel good from the guy who don't give up money. Say, yeah, Charlie, that upward. You have a machine. That's really help. You have a machine. For Jazz, good. Are you guys never play again? Put the camera for your top. Oh.
I know
We are the consumed internet bundle, so praise the camera small.
this is good and make my presentation will make.
But the
Me good for me. Honestly. Charlie, no sound. No sound.
yeah, I say you guys for praise them because people they watch you.
Yo. No sound.
Wave, say hi to the world.
No sound. Yo. No sound. No sound. How do we?
It should say sound come. That's an issue. Make it check.
So if you need to be where you handle this thing,
No, be anything. I think they are safe with food.
you're saying that this
Be anything. Spend. Then I give how much spend on it. You see right now. And they pick from. As I'm they pick from there.
you mute out.
It's going to be like either 15 or something. We'll go back.
It's your technical guy. My sound is not too loud. I'm hearing sound. Maybe somebody has to come down the keyboard. Let me tell the keyboard now, but she should be you listen to
Actually, you bring your charge. If you charge this one. Charge out.
This is you. Wow. Your phone. Ah, okay. I told you more Red. I do. I use the camera.
Yeah. Let me take it.
Red. Red. The laptop we give them. But then information they will have backup.
This was like fill up the whole program.
I can give them because I tune on for them. I check if I don't mess it, I just have it. See, all the things that
So eminent.
all the picture. Your property, how much?
I let it to where you have it.
Oh, then bring them. How in bring them? But you are okay. Bring one. How in bring them? Yes, they brought it. No, but how much? No problem. Yeah, what do you want in the house?
That's the plan. Like mom, yes. Get that. Shop on. That's the
IND. Open Costa speaking. Let's slide to go.
ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Okay, good. I thought I was the only one that had dinner, but I'm glad we all made it here safe, right? All right, my name is Kobna Banning, and I know you didn't come here to hear me speak. In fact, I'm only here to introduce some very important people. But first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about how I am affiliated with Archie Africa for the great work that they are doing. I've been an affiliate for about 4 years now, and Joe gave me a sign in there and said, Kobna, make sure you say everything in 3 minutes. So please start timing me 3 minutes on the dot because I can talk. All right. So really quickly, I got connected with Aki Africa through a design competition. I schooled in the States, and as I was trying to come back to Ghana, I was trying to figure out a way to really get connected with the architecture, if you will. There was a design competition then that was being hosted by Aki Africa, and it was about young Africans trying to do a research and to see how our design, our culture, the ingenuity, the creativity, can it really impact the West, be it America and the rest. Well, I won the competition, first place. Oh no, thank you. Well, and through that we were able to, we learned a lot about what was happening. We had a lot of, since then, if you will, we've had a chance to do a lot of events together, go for presentation, and still promote that initiative. I'm not going to continue with everything else because seriously, we need to introduce our guests. Without much ado, I'd like to first introduce the Honorable Chifat Gomashi, and she's the Deputy Minister for Tourism and Culture and Creative Art. Madam, please forgive me. And then, please, if you don't mind, I'd like her to say some few words. Please.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Anikata. Good Thank you very much for asking me to say something small. And at this point, I think that you heard my voice. I come to learn from the feet of the people who be speaking. So that's why I'm here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And today, our host for the night is Madame Coco Amatebio. She is thank you. She is the chairman of, the chairperson for the Arterial Network Steering Committee. She actually started her career in the 70s in Montreal and created a platform of artists from Africa, the Caribbean, and Latin America. She was also a member of the Canadian Art Council, and in Ghana, she worked with the National Theatre until she founded the Institute of Music Development in 2004. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Madame Amatebio.
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to thank our musicians. They did a wonderful job. And I'd like you to give them a huge round of applause for what they did. Thank you. As you've been told, my name is Koko Amatebio. I'm from the Institute for Music and Development. Our passion is creative industries and how you use the creative industry culture to enhance the economy. That is what we are all about. Because of this, we have been able, together with the Deputy Minister sitting here, create policies on creative industry. So yes, indeed, in Ghana, we do have policies guiding the creative industry. And government acknowledges that there's something called creative industry that could enhance the economy. We have done a series of workshops to create awareness for this industry. The first thing we did was to talk about the value chain in the creative industry. Then we did a session at the British Council on creative cities and how cities can actually enhance their economy through the creative industry, and how cities can create festivals, events, build up their artists, etc. Today, we are talking about the creative industry and business, because without the private sector, we can't really go very far. People in the private sector, people in businesses have been collectors forever, and through them, museums have come about. In Montreal, for example, we knew people who used to collect art, and when they die, they donate their art to museums. As a result of that, museums have a huge collection of African art. All over the world, that is what is happening. In Ghana too, we have people in business collecting art, people in business who have art galleries. We have people in business who work with artists in order to enhance their businesses. For example, the Key Soap Concert Party, if you remember the Key Soap Concert Party. Before Key Soap Concert Party, people did not know very much about concert party. But when Key Soap, and without concert party, people did not know very much about Key Soap. But when the two got married, and Key Soap was putting money into concert party, and concert party was promoting Key Soap, both enhanced who they are. And everybody got to know Key Soap, and everybody got to know concert party. So ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to be talking with people in businesses who are also interested in the arts. We're going to ask them questions about how they plan to work with us. We are no longer interested in how they sponsor us. We are not interested in how we partner with them to make sure that their business grow and that our business as artists also grow. So without talking too much, I'll hand the microphone over to Audrey.
Thank you very much, Coco. Coco is right. Today we're going to be linking the three crucial cogs that are essential for the creative arts to thrive in Ghana. Those who buy or sponsor the art, the creatives who conceive and produce the art, and the public who consume and endorse it, aka some of you here. And I consider this a very important conversation that must be had, because although we often hear from those who create art, and at times the public that consumes the art, we seldom hear from those who, quite frankly, put their money where their hearts and mouths are by patronizing the arts. Yet we know that from time immemorial in all cultures, including ours, there have been groups, there have been families, institutions, and individuals who lend tremendous financial and patronage support to the arts, often behind the scenes and yet consistently and magnanimously. So today's forum is designed to explore that mutually beneficial relationship between artists and the business persons behind the art. And we want to find out from them why they've chosen to support the art in the ways that they do, what motivates them in their choice of art and the artist, what elements in an artist's work appeals to them, and how they see that relationship between art, the public, the larger societal progress that Coco hinted at, and their place in that relationship. So I have the privilege of introducing them very quickly to you, and we will start the conversation. And on my immediate right, we have Mr. Amadou Baba, and he's a businessman and an industrialist who's devoted the last 30 years of his life to building successful Ghanaian businesses. So he's currently the CEO of 4 companies, including Bafla Limited, which is a property development and civil engineering firms, and bespoke concrete building work, amber greening, which is an agricultural development with a 500-acre tea plantation and 54-acre mango plantation, Al Anisa Travel Services, and Amber Gallery. So welcome. And next is Mr. Nick Amatefio, who is a co-founder and promoter of a host of business ventures spanning a cross-section of sectors in Ghana and across Africa. They include mining, telecommunications, pharmaceuticals, and agribusiness. He was a member of the Ghana Investors Council from 2002 to 2008, and is an advisory board formed under the leadership of His Excellency former President J. Kufuor. He's also the lead director of the governing board of, he was also the lead director of the governing board of Ghana Central Bank from 2001 to 2008, chairman and principal shareholder of Ganex Limited, principal shareholder and chairman of Omni Media, the owners of City FM Radio, and vice chairman of Ghana Agro Foods Company in Ghana. Welcome. And finally, my good friend, Professor E. Jimagwedi of the Department of Political Science at the University of Ghana, who just recently retired actually. He's the executive director of the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, which is an independent, non-partisan, non-profit policy research and advocacy organization dedicated to the promotion of democracy, good governance, and economic opportunity in Ghana and Africa. And he's also executive director of the Afrobarometer, which is a Pan-African survey research project tracking public opinion on political, economic, social development in African countries. So welcome, Jima. And my name is Audrey Depo. I teach at the Department of Communication Studies at the University of Ghana. And I am really just going to start by having you reflect on how you see the symbiotic relationship that Koko hinted on, and I also, between artists, art, patrons, and the public. So maybe I'll just go around the table and start with Baba, because I hear that you have one of the greatest art galleries in Accra, or perhaps in the country.
Thank you. I would just talk about I'm just going to talk about collecting art, the importance of collecting art to society. Collecting art for me is to be able, it's a form of recording history. If we collect art, then we can always remember our past, our forefathers, the way they lived. And that motivated me to collect art. I started collecting art like over 30 years. Oh, okay. And when I 30 years ago, when I started collecting art, everything was weird. It was authentic. Now, things have changed. I mean, I could see how the carvers, like in the breed and all that, deviating from the originality of the art. For example, fancy, this and that. Yeah. Slowly, we are losing so much. Many times I've talked to the museum where to have a forum to be able to talk to the carvers to maintain the line of the tribe, because our culture is based on tribe. Every tribe has its own way of their language, and that goes into the art. And I see it very sad. I feel so sad anytime I see, go to the art center and you see the art that being selling to the foreign. I mean, they are way out of the track. They are not the real thing, you know. And I don't know. I mean, that's why I've been working so hard to preserve what I have for the last 30 years, hoping that maybe one way or the other there will be a way out so that we could create a museum, a proper museum. Because the museum we have nothing. Everything is gone. Everything is gone. 30 years ago, you walk into the museum and you could see real pieces of all the tribes we have in Ghana. Today, you go there and there's nothing. You know, it's very sad. That's why I've been working so hard to preserve, not to think of my art as money to sell them, so that maybe one day, maybe I don't know, maybe there could be a way we could, some help will come from somewhere where we could have a proper museum. Now we don't have a proper museum. No, we don't have a museum at all. And I encourage everybody to go into collecting art, a real one, you know. And collecting art, you know, it doesn't come with age. It's the passion and the love that you love your own country and you love to keep, like I'm saying, to keep history. It's to preserve our history. And that's for me, that's the collection of art.
I like your topic because this. Hello? Okay. Because coming from a family that has Madam Coco as my immediate junior sister, and then Nata Matthew as my immediate senior brother, who have for years dominated the art scene in this market. And in Montreal, because I was in Montreal when Coco was doing a whole bunch of things. And then lately my own daughter, Nicole, I've been producing an African city and winning acclaim all of them. So basically, nobody are sitting here and I'm sitting there. So it's a bit of a stretch for me today, but I will try to do my best. Basically, we've been discussing in the family how art and sponsorship for generations, for centuries, originally was kings and popes and whether people sponsoring the Michelangelo and Mozart, then coming down to Rockefellers and the Kellogg's, who then were doing museums and art. Then coming down to President Patton's Gates and whatever. Now, we in Ghana, because of the economic issues we have now, the kind of sponsorship as a percentage of somebody's disposable income is sort of come down. But having said that, in my field, which is or my ownership of CDFL, had led me to over the years of watching CD promote the Mogo, which is the music of Ghanaian origin for many years, and seeing people approach us to CD for sponsorship in the art and comment. And then we also approach other people to sponsor us, because basically we need sponsorship to sponsor them. And having seen over the years how the decline in ability to sort of gather support over the years, maybe not out of people's lack of passion for art, I think, but because the money simply, the people cannot spend money. They don't know how. But having said that also, in the music scene because major companies like the telecoms, major companies like the banks are operating on international space. So basically, they need to compete domestically using the local music and and uh, movies. So basically, we see in the space that yes, musicians are still being for the word sponsored because the big companies who are operating in the world stage have tried to sort of compete locally. In my company dynamics, basically we do not do asphalt per se, but we do or recently done the donation to Liberia for the Ebola situation. The key thing is people, when they have the will to do things to aid humanity and other people, will do it. And I think that basically we have to sort of praise companies who have been set up specifically to sort of appreciate art and appreciate for its sake. We should be able to sort of, we should say well done to them.
I'm sitting here trying to explain to myself why I am here. But I also believe that in the chaotic minds of creative people, there is a scheme for everything somehow. So I am an academic and an NGO leader of some sort and an advocate. So truly speaking, I am a member of the talking class. I'm not a doer or a creator. But as a member of this class, I also realize that my limited professional success and survival has been very much dependent on the goodwill and the support of other people, and principally my highly provident wife, and the whole strength of benefactors along the way. So I am here representing and in empathy and sympathy with the creators and the sorts of people who themselves do not really make a whole, they don't know how to make money as such, but on whom we all depend in some way for some sustenance in very important ways that maybe this conversation will uncover increasingly. So first, I'm here to be thankful to artists and creative people and those who support them and give them the ability to be able to continue to do their work. Now, there are several questions in my mind, and maybe later on I'll be raising them about, and they are all basically policy questions. What is it that we must do? Myself as an educator, civic leader, what should I have been doing all this while to get even the people in my office to appreciate that life is more than taking care of your material needs and some of the mundane things that we do, and that there is enhancement and joy to be obtained from some of these other things also. But I'll leave that for the later in the conversation.
Let me pick up on a couple of strands. Baba said something that was really important. He has been collecting since he was very young, and he's noticed a trend. And that trend is that you can you're having more difficulty finding authentic African art because I suppose people are not producing the kind of art with the kind of, shall I say, purity that they used to in the past. Now, what can the private sector really do? Oftentimes, and again, Baba says, somebody has to be talking to the carvers, to stick to the line. And often, that somebody we have in mind is often government. However, this conversation is not about government, it's about the others, namely the private sector. So, Baba, what do you really think, as a key person in the private sector, you can do in that regard? My microphone was not on, but you heard me, right?
Like I said earlier on, I think that the museum, they could set up, I don't know, whether a body with a good knowledge of the history. But that's happening. Yeah, the private sector. On my part, I've been doing a lot of that. I can't explain. For example, if you go to a brief, I can confidently say I'm part of a brief, the setup. In the 70s, I was given this was training at a brief before it became a brief, the setup line. But another time, it was difficult to artists is good. They are talking about how to promote art. Artists are also very difficult to do. They are very, very difficult. I mean, they are overconfident in everything. I mean, you tell them something and they are difficult to take for the right. I don't know. I mean, difficult. That's what I'm saying. The individual, the very difficult for individual person as one to. It has to be a like a body, with a lot of knowledge of history, background. Maybe that might help for them to listen. But I go telling them, okay, this is Piaba, it's wrong. Piaba is fertility. We have the Fanti, the Santi, we have the Bono. Everybody has fertility. Now you go to our center and you see Piaba, one Piaba has got about 5 tribes on one. Because they won't listen. They just carve it in America. They finish when the down could be a dancing, the middle could be a Santi, the top could be Fanti. And they won't listen. That's why I'm thinking that I think maybe a proper body set up with endorsement of, even a bit of money and coaching might do, but not individual. It's really difficult because I've done it over the years and I'm not seeing it working. It's hard.
But Nick, really, you talked about the entrepreneurs in the West, the Rockefellers who set up museums or private collectors whose private collections have become museums. Where do you see us heading, though? I mean, what is the role of people like you in perhaps triggering some of that sort of patronage for the arts?
At the end, it's all about money. And the Rockefellers talk about at the time that they made money. They were talking about the oil, railroads, etc. Now in the Zuckerberg and Gates. That is simply the century of the IT. Yeah. If you come to that to Africans, in the Mesope of South Africa, the Dangote, the Dibovie, the Williams of Nigeria. But they are to use empowerment. They are encouraging entrepreneurship. They are into education. Yeah. Now, the space on the table for modern art is shrinking. Of course, the pie is bigger, but so in what is you may have sort of more outlets for art, but it's shrinking. What I think personally is that the businessman himself has to do the thing that promote art, even if you not consciously sort of set out to do so. I was designing or asking my brother Nat. I designed the design an office block in the airport. And the first thing that came beyond opening a sculpture, a massive sculpture in one building. The fact that you haven't even designed it doesn't yet. I mean, it's a sculpture, but since in like a Chicago or something like that, that's a rule of the city that when you build, you gotta put a sculpture out there in a way of promoting it. So, a businessman advised by an architect with worldwide knowledge can sort of make that proposal and for the city to sort of take note. I mean, having sort of worked with my friends at CDFM, I also know that the artists or promoters might understand how businesses make their budgets. So on the promotion advertising budget for next year, right, have been passed by August of this year. So basically, with that knowledge, you can then start pitching to the guys with the money, to the Airtel, the Vodafone, say, in June, July, August, and you listen, for next year, I want to do this. Can you put it in your budget? Have it approved by your management. So those are sort of practical things that artists can do together with sympathetic business people.
Chima, you're the outsider. However, I'm sure you have views as to what you think perhaps the private sector can lend to the process. What would you ideally like to see the private sector doing to support the arts that they are perhaps not already doing or they ought to be doing more of?
Madam Moderator, with your permission, I would like to rephrase the question. And the reason I like to do so is that it's kind of noble of all of you to say that the private sector individuals must do it. But I think this is a case of it takes many people who can kill a cat, and there are many ways of killing a cat. And in just about any society I know, the state does have a role because the state owns taxpayer money. The state is the holder of public resources, and the state has perhaps control over some of the highest symbolic resources of the state. And this they do in the form of conferment of national honors and the like. So, to me, if the state does nothing at all, if the state is not going to put fiscal resources, material resources into promoting creative art and productivity, it should at least give some of the many symbolic resources it has, and in doing so, privilege artists and creative people in that. So, a state or government or the Queen who awards knighthood or national medals of honor should not be giving those things to politicians as we do here all the time, but give them to artists, because there are a whole lot of over-rewarded and underproductive elements in our society, and you can't take it all and run away with it. So that's my first point. The state has a role. I understand the state it doesn't have a whole lot maybe to spare, but it should be able to spare the symbolic resources that it controls, and it should do so in favor of artists and creative people. Then also a whole lot of public institutions such as the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. Now I'm a member, and so I can speak freely about it. A couple of years ago, I'm sitting down with a friend of mine who teaches economics at Princeton, who is a Beninois. He'd just been inducted into the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, and who are his fellow inductees. They included jazz icon Herbie Hancock, film producer and director Martin Scorsese, as well as the third famous Bruce Springsteen, a rock star. So it made me wonder, would the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences bestow membership, fellowship to Kojuenchi or to Larry Otu or somebody like that? So that or anymore. So those are some of the various ways in which resources can be expended on that sector that we all need and which we may not have money to give to, but we may have other rewards to give to. Then also, in many places, the cultural and artistic industry itself sets up systems of support and promotion. Now, I only know from the news media some of the stuff with music, fratricidal conflict and the like. So how do you go about promoting your interest, rewarding your people, supporting them if there is so much infighting? So, but I do think all of them have some roles to play in this. Now I come to the private sector, the individual sponsor, who, as the moderator began by saying, we come in two parts. They come in the part of the one who patronizes, goes to visit these sites, who goes to music concerts, who goes to listen to audio creators, who go to watch and to see exhibitions and so on. It's a form of sponsorship. And then you have the buyers. And sometimes you have the buyers who buy the space, who buy the tickets or subsidize the tickets so that the rest of us can go and enjoy. But that takes a whole lot of social infrastructure, economic infrastructure, and political infrastructure to make that happen. And in the latter part of the conversation, maybe if there's opportunity, I can talk about that. Thank you.
No. Okay. One more thing that Baba said that I thought we might pick up on, because he said that in talking to the artists that he works with, you know, they are very confident, and they should be. They have their own ideas about how they want to see their art, and they are not worried about some of the concerns that Baba has. So my question is there a tension between art and the commercial imperative? Is there a tension? And if there is, how does one resolve that tension? So, Baba, is there a way in which you can resolve the artists wanting their art to go in a certain direction, and you patronizing them and respecting that they want to go in that direction? They don't have to necessarily be frozen the way that you see them, and still be viable.
Painting, for example, you can start on your own. But when it comes to the culture side, you can't create your own. It's there. So that's why I find it difficult how we're going to develop. Because, for example, if you're going to carve a something, you have to be a something. You can't create a new something. It's a culture. And if the guy don't want to listen and he wants to going his way is difficult. I go to all over Accra, Port Central, and I talk to the boy. You can't, if you want to create your own, like a painting or your own art, yes. But when you come to the concept, no, you can't do it. You can't. And you don't seem to understand. That's why we have a lot of rubbish in the market and all that. You go to hotels and you see art being put somewhere and it doesn't mean anything. Yes. You see. For example, one sad thing about Ghana, you see the stool which normally the Ghana government gives to the diplomats at the end of their service. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't relate to any tribe in Ghana. It doesn't at all. I don't know how we came about that. It does not relate to any of the tribe, the symbolic tribe of the account that we are of the school. No, it doesn't. It's just a wayside, and one time somebody picked up and they gave it to you, and they continue to buy it. No. Meanwhile, we have so many tribes of stools, which is very symbolic, which will end up one day become a museum piece. But we don't. With other people, I've never seen even one diplomat leave it with a proper symbolic tool. Which is sad. You see, one sad day of my life was Johannesburg. I went to Johannesburg. You go to Johannesburg, you want to do a tour of Johannesburg. One of the tours you can do is Nelson Mandela and Winnie's house. Their old house where they used to live, they fighting apartheid. And now we have turned the whole place into a small museum. Anybody can go there and see. You go there and you do a tour and they show you the collection of Nelson Mandela, what the boot was wearing, the this and that. Then you see a fugu from the north, Ghana, which was given to Nelson Mandela when he was released from prison and he came to Ghana. It was given to him. It's sad because, yeah, we have fugu, but it's not a special made. Someone like Nelson Mandela who should make a proper one, not the one just on the street. They just buy on the street, wrap it up, and give it to them. You look inside and you see the flower, you know. I mean, and we cannot go and change it. We cannot go and change it. Because that's what we gave it to the market. And it's sad. It's like these are the things that we do, and it's like we don't know where we came from, and we are so never will we also know where we came from. The same thing goes like I'm saying. So many we don't do the proper things. We are not there doing proper things. I don't know why we don't do proper things. In a rise for money or look at the chiefs now, and the chiefs of Ghana, either Kumasi or Tono or where. You know, the chiefs are not like the chiefs and the king in England, where the king is born and is in the training to become a king tomorrow. One day, anybody through whatever, your mother or whatever, is picking up, there is always a chief of Rumpasi. No training whatsoever. And they are dressing, you know, they wear. They wear. Most of the time, it doesn't relate to their school, their tribe, their village. No. Unlike the only everything was commissioned by the people of that village to create for the chief. That's why you could get the authentic in those days. Now, the man is in Accra to be made a chief of Lumpasi. He goes to the art center and pick up food and pick up cloth and pick up this and go to the village away. You go to the village, go and see. No any proper set up stool or what symbolically to the stool. No. It's sad. We are losing track.
I think you hit up on a very important thing, and you're taking us back to the ways in which traditionally art was supported by our traditional royalty, where you commission a cloth and the crafts people then produce a work of art because it's meant to serve a certain purpose. But now we don't quite have that. And our royalty, I might say, it means that they are no longer the patrons of art that they used to be in the past, and perhaps we should begin to talk about some of these things. Now, next, Mr. Martin, you were talking about planning sponsorship in a way that you make sure that you plan ahead so that if it's the telecoms or whoever, they put it in their budget. I'm just wondering though that for private individuals like you though, what motivates you to determine to sponsor or buy a piece of art? What is it that you're looking for? Baba says he's looking for a certain authenticity, cultural authenticity. What would you be looking for?
Well, I like the brothers at all to say that I go to the art gallery, I find what I like. I find what I like at the art gallery. Then the day of mobile phone, I call Nat and say, Nat, I am an XYZ gallery. He said, where are you exactly standing? And I'm standing for this. He said, oh, that one. I don't like that one. Then I call Coco. What do you say? And invariably, Coco will always have opinion, but that's not quite Nat's opinion. But since he's younger than me, I go with the opinion. Anyway, basically, supporting art for me, because I have to make time for it. Yeah, I have to sort of make sure that it fits in my environment. It fits in, where I want to put it. It fits in where I'm in space in my head at that time. Yeah? So basically, my approach is that. Before I go any further, I must apologize for this MDC because Sanjuna was going to Lome this morning and try and come back tonight for this. But then he called me, I don't know that yet. His meeting with the excellency that could not take place in time, of course, happened. So he'll be here tomorrow. Yeah. So that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. You said you had a couple of more insights to share as the conversation rolls on, and I'm not quite sure what it is you wanted to contribute, although I think you got us thinking about the fact that you could conceive this as a purely private sector meet artist conversation. You've roped in the government. How about the public?
I'm sorry if I accept protocol by roping in the government, but just keep in mind that to my mind, and in a real sense, the government is the public, because government holds the political mandate of the public. Government holds taxpayer money, so the government is the public, and we shouldn't run away from it, and we should just take it on. Is my approach, but I still agree that sometimes when you push and you can't get it, it doesn't mean you should just give up and do nothing in the meantime. So But before I let off, I let the state of the book and government of the book. First recommendation and suggestion I will make is that, at the very least, policies of government and state should support the creation and expansion of the middle class and the affluent and the wealthy, who are the types of people who do patronize these things in sustained ways, because the first to go and visit and to do some of the artistic things we're talking about, to come and sit here, you probably ought to have been able to overcome your basic survival needs. And the more of that class of people we get in Ghana, the better it is for us. But even more directly, I think, and more immediately, one of the things that is done in many countries is for the state to make patronage of art and creative artists tax deductible. Because again, it's easy enough to say that they should give and give. But the state should make it easier and more fun for them to do so. Because as human beings, we thrive on incentives. But maybe that's all I will say about the state for now. With just again a little job at our politicians and political class. They loot and pillage public and state resources and all. That is inevitable in many societies, historically and in contemporary terms. But there is such a theory as the stationary bandage. The worst type of bandage is the one who robs you and then runs out of the village. The best or the better type of bandage is the one who robs you and stays in the village and maybe keeps some of the loot at home. And sometimes, if you think of the history of art and cultural patronage in the West, that's what the robber barons have done. That is what the JP Morgans of the world have done. They are big patrons of art today, even if the sources of their wealth may not be so noble in today's terms. So again, create conditions for our bandits to stay at home. Then for all of us, and as an educator and as a civil society operator, I think we have work to do. The fact that we pay so little attention to the world around us, the fact that we pay so little attention to things like art, we pay so little attention to what we hang in the walls, in our homes and in our offices, if we do at all. It's a function of a certain type of miseducation and a type of education that has not trained the mind to look in ways other than the simplistic and the narrow. So there's work for us to do there. And the more of that we do jointly, severally, individually, the better the community of artists and creative people would be, and the more patronage we would have, at least as people who appreciate it, even if we don't have the resources to buy and to sponsor.
We're going to go back to the floor, but one of the takeaway messages is the appeal that Jima has made, that if you rob, let it stay here and use it to buy art. Okay, so now we will go to Mr. Kofi Blankson to sum up, and then we will let the floor have its say, right?
Well, thank you very much for coming. I mean, you guys are the reason why we do this. It's always warming to see your presence here because it inspires us to do even better shows. So it was quite interesting that we want to thank our panelists, Nick, the interesting thing about all three of our panelists is that, in a way, I consider them all very significant artists in their own way. People who take in pretty blank sheets of paper and have created stuff. So they understand the tension that's involved in the creation. The Baba has transformed the wedding industry in Accra and Ghana. Nick has established new ground in telecommunication, finance, and so on, mining, all these things that have transformed the Ghanaian economy. Jima is a man of ideas, but before Jima, there was no serious talk about governance as a driving force in our culture. No programmed discussion of governance. And the work Jima and his colleagues have done has been the work that's transformed, again, society from autocracy to democracy, and our ability to even sit down with ministers and say to their face some of the hard things that we say. So it's wonderful that we're here, and I'd like to acknowledge the Golden to it. Definitely Johnson for being a strong champion. The chairman, I mentioned he was supposed to be on the panel this evening, but unfortunately, other circumstances prevailed and he couldn't come. But you know, this evening we can't go without discussing the Medicis, who they were. Our Medicis here are all my friends. So I define Medicis as nice people who allow me to see wonderful works of art that my meager paycheck can't support buying. So thank you for being our modern day Medicis, at least from my personal point of view. Lots of interesting themes for this class this evening. Art as it captures history, as Baba strongly expressed. If you look at what the Medici did then too as well, all their themes were not contemporary themes, but were themes that brought antiquity and classicism to the table. An idea was for them, it was to acquire that stature and standing highly. So when our Medici talk about these things, it's something that has been long expressed, not just the conservative instruments, but also sort of this aura of sustainability. So, a couple of things about the Medicis that I'd like to put on the table. The Medicis are also known in the beginning for being innovators in finance. And it was through their ability to innovate in finance that they got some of these nation states together. So this idea of creating the basis for industry public policy or innovation in the nuts and bolts of finance and other technologies itself is a very, very important aspect of being a Medici. So again, Medici today are lined up in an interesting way with the Medicis of their time. A couple of things, Wikipedia has been kind to me this evening. A couple of things about being Medicis that I'd like to bring to your attention. But one of the things I want to stress, obviously, is sort of the globalization aspect of being a Medici and the innovation aspect of it, meaning that the Medicis of the 15th, 16th century were very involved in solving huge technical problems. So the working of hard stone, the making of high quality tapestries and so on. These were possibly trivialized today, but very, very important technology challenges at the time. If you think about Galileo and his work in hydrodynamics, for example, that sponsorship points out some things that perhaps we've forgotten. Now, how is that important today? Innovation and technology today as well are part of the art scene. You see music, you see it, and if you really wanted to understand the spread of the internet, a large part of it is being supported by a very risky portion of the human life. That kind of art as well is a part of what spurred our use of things like the internet. So another thing that I wanted to reflect on again was Baba's decry of the state of art, and and to point out that the Medicis themselves, by the way they created standards and attracted the best talent, were also curators. And their ability to curate was their ability to draw important personages like Michelangelo, to them. So it's very important that we don't forget this issue, this shrine of Queen Medici, as Baba has expressed, of the important curities. Art should never bow to the basis of public instincts. Art should always seek to raise and elevate. So I think Baba is quite right, pointing out that what we're doing so far isn't cutting it. So let me finish on this last note by pointing out that the Ghanaian Medici also have another challenge, which is Florence was battling Rome for status and supremacy in the 15th and 16th centuries. And, part of, it's complicated history, but part of the Medicis being in Florence, and when they got to Florence, elevated Florence and created a global culture and created what we see today. The challenge for the Medicis, Nick, Baba, Jima, is to create the foundation for elevating a place like Accra, to develop a brand that can fight, say, the gigantism of Lagos, because it has quality, it has discernment, refinement, all the good things that art's about. So this is a challenge to our Medicis. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that we have some Medicis in the audience as well. And so we'll come back to them after the music. Oh yeah. We saw you yesterday. The Afro mic. They're wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for that. I hear that a number of people in the audience that are burning to ask a couple of questions. So we'll go to the audience and then come back to the panel. So yes, before so Kwasimanya, you wanted to ask something. Oh, you already have the mic. Okay, go ahead.
My name is Kwasimanya Didafo. I was editor for the Ghana Culture magazine, and it was an EU-sponsored project. And because the funding came from external sources with well-defined targets, we were able to have the freedom to do a good product. And this is a kind of personal contribution. I was listening to the discourse. This is my first one. It's very exciting. It's wonderful to see the depth of experience and knowledge here. But the concern I wanted to share was for people who have good ideas and can do quality productions and cannot fall into the budget cycle of and who do not fall within the budget cycle of the telcos and so on. What do such people do? I mean, Mr. Nikamate feels that the bottom line was money. And Papa was saying that we need a body of knowledgeable people to get together to push the agenda. And Prof. Jima was saying that states must do better. But for me, in a country I wash with Porsches and Range Rover invokes and so on, what about, from a practical perspective, if 10 entrepreneurs or even 20 entrepreneurs who will willingly buy a luxury vehicle for $120,000 or a mid-level sedan for maybe $50,000, it's a Camry or something, decided to be like the Rockefellers, the Gettys, and so on, and put that money forward and find talented people who they trust can do a good product, and maybe you can identify the talent by having competitions or so on, so you can weed out charlatans. But I cannot believe that in a country where people just buy, like I said, luxury vehicles on a whim, if every entrepreneur decides that instead of buying one car, I will put that money, this is seed fund, anybody with a good idea, within the next 6 months to a year can do a product that's an international standard and will have multiplier effects and will have return of interest. I mean, I find that that's very pragmatic because the money that actually makes a difference, for example, to people who want to do documentaries, tell stories, and so on, is probably maybe $10,000, 20, 30. You know, we might have our next, what's that film called that won the Oscars? Something Millionaire. Slumdog Millionaire. I mean, there must be, you know, thousands of Slumdog Millionaires moving away for lack of $20,000 sponsorship or partnership or whatever. So instead of buying that luxury vehicle, I have nothing against luxury vehicles, or buying the sedan, you know, let's get a roster of maybe 20 people. Everybody puts down 50,000 or 10, 100,000 if they like, and you know, do a competition, ally with the Ministry of Tourism, find the talent, back it, and you might all make your money back 100, 200, 300 fold because it goes to the Oscars or whatever, or it goes to Best Pack for a start. But it's just frustrating to have good ideas, and for lack of what would be probably not too much money in the eyes of people. But if you go to the telco, they'll give you the runaround for a year. You didn't come. I have my bright idea in March, and the budget was concluded in August. Therefore, nothing can be done. It just doesn't. I don't know. That's my humble contribution. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. What can entrepreneurs do? Can you come together and, in a more concerted effort, contribute to support?
Well, I have worked for big companies in the States and then in here. And then I formed my own company. So basically, with a big company, it's about the brand. And Nestle will have 100 brands. And basically, if you come to a Nestle, you've got to come with something which the brand manager all the way to the vice president is looking at how it enhances that brand. I've got 100 brands. So it will be the chocolate. But the idea, if it's going to be accepted, has to promote that brand. Even if the share of the market increases by 1%, the goal of artistic involvement, that's what they're looking for. Now, if you're coming in this context here, and coming at somebody like our exalted Regina, who is well known and respected, you must not come with a track record. A track record of achievement in that particular area. Because at the end, it's a brand. If you come with something which is untested and hit the brand, someone loses their job. And people at that middle level they have hopes, they got families to feed, and they are not for your, like for you, right? It might be something which can bring visible and measurable benefits.
So let me add to her question. If someone, an artist puts a proposal before you, what in that proposal will make you decide to support that artist? Or are there certain things that immediately jump at you that would say, well, I think that's something that we want to support, or that's something that we absolutely are not going to be a part of? So what motivates you to decide to go with a proposal or not? Instead of what you get.
Let me take my big company hat off, yeah? Because again, I'm used to the thinking of companies in the mass consumer area and how they react. Okay, let's be a mining company that doesn't need to promote their gold because their gold is not differentiated from any other gold. What they look for, and let's say you are Burkina Faso and they come. First of all, again, you are not that interested. You know, in that regard, it doesn't help your company. They help individual. Yeah. So you think of a Canadian as a project manager who is in Ouagadougou and goes to the famous Ouaga market by the hotel, what do you call it? Independent hotel area. So they go and pick something which they like. But to sponsor at that level, so now you say, what about if you get a group of people together? Yeah? In your experience, does that work? Difficult. Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because
I mean, why is that difficult?
Because well, it must strike you the same way. You know, if you're talking about music or a movie, is that what we're thinking about? Yeah. Any kind of art. But don't forget, for me also, let's say I have a product at Danic, yeah? For me, the guy who develops that product is also an artist. Hey, he goes and says, well, there's a niche in the market, let me do something. And these are also as egotistical or self-centered as the artists are also. But they also sort of produce something, yeah? And they produce something which goes to the market. You got the product must hear what it is. Then also the packaging must be attractive to people. So I'm managing that kind of person. And you come to me with your idea. How does that fit into my global concept? That was it. Yeah. Again, I'm answering.
I don't know. I can see the way out for the idea Baba put across and what Madam Grandma also put across. The point is that you need to have it's best to have a clearinghouse of some sort. Now I understand that it's possible for artists themselves to put together some sort of a group that vets and approves proposals for money holders, big money people to finance. I'm also thinking of the National Endowment for the Arts model of the US. So it's not politicians, it's not bureaucrats who are making those decisions. These are people with a certain appreciation of the arts and literature and the humanities who have been put in charge of these institutions to make decisions almost as if they are peers of the applicants. So there is a certain professionalism and objectivity that goes into it. The trick, and it's a problem always for countries such as ours, is for the government to say, well, people are putting in the money, then maybe the minister should preside over it, then it becomes political. And then they redeem. So those are some of the things we can do. We can have the group of peers of those artists make that decision on behalf of art and on behalf of and using merit, pure merit. And if we do that, then we can begin to have the kinds of standard setting that Baba would like to see and linking art to our culture and our ethnic groups and where they originated from in the first place.
And I have a question. Are contributions to the arts tax deductible for companies in Ghana? And if the answer to that question is no, then possibly arts organizations should band together and become a lobby group and establish a tax advantage or a capital gain advantage for investing in the arts. American corporations are generous in investing in the arts because they make money doing it. They save money doing it. But a company is in business to make profits. And if you tell your shareholders, well, I bought that beautiful painting over there, so therefore your dividend is much less than it ordinarily would be, they're not going to be very happy with that. So it's very possible that arts organizations are going to have to push to have a structure whereby companies can buy art, the art can be evaluated. When it's evaluated, it appreciates and it becomes an investment as opposed to a contribution. Sorry, my name is Brenda Joyce. I'm the CEO of a company called Allied Mining Ghana, and I'm also the president of the African American Association of Ghana.
Joe has just jumped onto his device here, and it's good old Google telling us, and he said, is art tax deductible in Ghana? And the answer is yes. No? The donate to Ashesi, right? Gifts made to Ashesi University Foundation are tax deductible under Section 501(c)(3) of the Internal Revenue Code. Yes. Ghana Think Tank Artists United, your tax deductible gift enables creative time to bring the most. Ghana Think Tank Artists. Okay.
Apparently, that's the US code. That's for the US tax, US contributors.
No. So you are wrong. No, you told me to read it. Okay.
Fails us yet again.
All right then. Now somebody.
Hello, my name is Kelvin Hazel. I'm an artist myself and part of the collective, 5-member artist collective called Exit Grove. And my submission has to do with two things. An individual by name Elikem Kwenyehia has established an arts award, okay, for young and coming artists. And that is just an individual, and the art prize is 25,000 Ghana cedis. And that includes management of the artist and then also a prize, a cash reward. Okay, this is an individual, he's a lawyer, and he's been able to set this up, right? We have big corporations who are making billions of cedis. I always quote in dollars. And having been able to influence anything, have any influence in the arts industry, and we are starving. That's on the side. The other thing I wanted to respond to is Baba's, seemingly unsettling sense of us not producing the past anymore. But then I'm also from the point of view that yes, the past, we produce the past. He has been able to collect the past for 30 years. We have cultural evolution. We have certain aspects of our societies evolving to accommodate other lifestyles and other activities which reflects in our time. So in that same light, what we as contemporary artists are doing are recording and creating work that reflects our time. So if we are producing work in the contemporary and you still want us to go back and then produce work that talked about clans and other societies that I am not aware of, I didn't grow up on, but you have collected work to tell that story. I don't see why we should. But then we should look at that as a reference point to understand what has happened and how the evolution has taken place and how we as individuals of contemporary time are producing to talk about issues or comment on the philosophical basis of what we are doing. Thank you very much.
Voice casa. Ah, voice casa.
Hello. I want again the idea of the medicis or medicis. I don't know if medicis. Okay. The medicis, finding Ghanaian medicis. I think I want to persist on this point. In fact, I'd like to ask Nicole about it as a young person and as part of a family group who are very progressive and forward thinking about culture and art. I mean, Nicole is producer of the African City, and is doing an international level production using her creativity, her talent, her thinking. But in order to film, she used, I'm sure, local talent or a combination of local and international, and somebody funded initially to get it going. So again, if you have somebody like Nicole who has a good idea, and you can't walk up to a Nestle or somebody, but are there not entrepreneurs who will recognize that this is a super talented person who has experience in other fields, not necessarily a track record, but is very talented and can put out a good product. And if you give that person 50,000, more or less 20, 10, whatever it is, they will do the product and it will work. So I want to ask Nicole how she managed to go from idea to output. And I still want to challenge Ghanaian entrepreneurs to say that this saying that people must have a track record, you will not find your Michelangelos. The Michelangelos may be there. So we need some people to have faith, make a leap of faith, commit some resources, and find genuine super brilliant talent, which is here in Ghana, but which will never emerge if we use the same models. I mean, that's the point I'm making. But I hope Nicole, I'm not putting you on this spot and I'm persisting. I may believe that, I have been on a long journey in other things and I might be able to put some people together. So it's in my interest.
I will say, interestingly enough, that it's not all about money, though. I want to say a lot of the success of an African city came from other kind of support. I remember being able to call Auntie Coco and her helping me find actors. I remember being able to call Uncle Nat and him being able to give me storylines, like from a historical perspective. With my dad, I was able to call him and, say, Dad, I need this, I need that, I need help with this, and he was able to put me in the right direction or even lead me there. So a lot of it wasn't actually financial. I just think if you have a great support system, they're there to support you in other ways. So yeah, you do have to prove yourself. I had to prove myself, and so whether it was taking my own finances to put it into the show. So making sure I had my 9 to 5 so I could put money into the show. That's what I did. And luckily now, networks are calling me saying they want to invest in this. And that's how I'm making my money back. But it was self-sacrifice in that regard. And so that's what we have to be willing to do, I think.
Sure. But we still do need the support, though. Nicole, just a little bit of support, no?
Okay. Yeah, my name is David Masterwell. I'm a documentary filmmaker, and I found my Medici in the person of Auntie Coco here. Not But in terms of finance, like she said, it's not all about finance, but by getting right people pointing you or being sort of a mentor, giving you directions and or support. And through that, I got funded from one of the European funded projects, Denmark Culture Fund, and I produced a documentary on the gold resource, gold mining in Ghana. And that movie that I have done has opened so much opportunity for me. That though I haven't done any screening that I have charged, but people, organizations that I have screened the film to, they come to me that they also have a need of getting a brilliant documentary on their work. And they give me contracts that I never thought I could get it, you know. So those are opening opportunities. So even the corporations, organizations, they may think that they don't need us, but they need us. Just that they've not seen what we can do for them. Because this organization, I never met them. But after seeing my work, they called me, oh, I think you could do something like this for us. You know, so if they make themselves available, we can work with them. You know, now I'm doing a movie project on they try to change the narrative of Africa. By investing, I'm not able to find the African to sponsor this project, to put finance money into this project. I'm going back to the Europeans to look for funding, to support the project. We are saying that they don't tell our stories well. The narrative is skewed against Africa. There are positives here in Africa, but those stories are not being told. But I cannot get funding to tell that story. I'm going back to Europeans to do that.
No, but why? Perhaps you want to share. Did you send proposals to certain Medicis and they did not respond? Or so tell us anecdotes about why the African Medicis are not supporting you.
Define film as, first of all, film is very expensive and thereby to choose a feature film is very expensive. So when you set the budget to the people, they find they are not even, their interest there is very limited. You know, they don't know the value for getting so much amount from them. What exactly are they going to get in return? And also, maybe another point I should put across is that maybe I haven't met the right Medici.
So how many do you think you went to? Oh,
I've approached a few of them, not many. So sometimes it's the law of average works. The more people you approach, then you could get one of them. All you need is just one yes, and you go.
One of the things my father insisted I do with an African city was to write a business plan. And it was with that business plan that I was able to talk to investors on the continent. So everybody who's investing in season 2 is based on the African continent. But I think it's because they saw the business strategy behind the project. They saw what it was in it for them in terms of profits, or but they saw the business side of the art. You know? But with that business plan, yes, every investor for an African city is based on the continent.
That's a very important point, isn't it? That, you know, art is beautiful to look at, but then if you want to approach entrepreneurs, they want to see the business side of it, and you have to be able to show them. And I suppose many artists are not looking at that. I mean, perhaps they don't have the skills to do that, you know, and perhaps that's something that has to happen too. But what if, well,
yeah, Nicole just talked about the business plan. I'd like to find out, maybe Nick can tell us, when if I were to take a proposal to him and I have a business plan, how should this business plan look like? We just said that maybe we don't always have the expertise to write this kind of business, but maybe he can explain to us what business will see when they see a business plan.
If you bring a resume to a potential employer, you bring the resume to his business. So if you made a piece of hairdressing and you send one summer in from school to study engineering, you can't bring that 10-year, that engineering and say you want to make engineering because there are other people who have better credentials. Same as the business plan. So if I'm a Vodafone and you bring in sponsorship, you fair present the environment, which I, as the business will know. So when you talk about the environment that I mean, I know you know what you're talking about. And if you say that you are giving the left land because that space in the environment that I am in, to help enhance my brand, to enhance my market share, because if you look at the papers every day, you're talking about who has entered more in terms of the who use the phone, or the Vodafone, or Vigo, or whatever. So basically for me, as a business, you come in with a project, you have to fit with my way I want my company to go for. You know, it's not like a Tiger Wood and what call it? Rolex. So my Rolex. So this guy is not Tiger Wood who is the winner. And Rolex say, hey, I want it's beyond individual. It's a project that coming to you as a business. So at the end of the day, you must show your own track record, because it must match. If you bring in a track record that's very positive, you must be your brand, and you're going to enhance the brand. If you come with a track record that is not that good, then suddenly it ain't helping.
How do you want to add to that?
For me, it's not about money. It's not about money. It's about creativity. If you come to me and I think you have something special, I go for it. I'm a builder, I'm a farmer, and for the art, it's a passion. For me, it's not about money. I don't need any artist to promote my business. No, I don't see that way. But it's to do with the person, what he can do. And this gentleman here, the great, let me try something I said. I was just talking about culture. And I've promoted so many young artists in so many forms. I'm just talking basically about culture. That's what I was telling you about deviating. But when it comes to promoting, no, I promote everybody. I have so many collections of modern art. A lot of them. Young, and very versatile. You know, if I love it, I'll put in my money. Because for me, it's not about promoting my business, my company. No. For me, it's a passion, it's a love. I've been doing that over the years for love. It's not about money. I'm different from seeing you. So if you come to me and you tell me, okay, this is what I can do, you show me what I can do, if I like it, I'll feel
Rather than a question, and just exactly what Mr. Babado's, the point he made, that for me, I believe it starts, when does the conversation even start, or the whole point of the reaches is a love and appreciation of art, maybe for art's sake, or creativity. And so people are willing to invest, people are willing to support, people can see a value which is not necessarily my business bottom line, but it's more of a cultural value. And I think that's the kind of group of, backers that artists are craving for in this country. Yes, that's my point.
Yes, about the Medicis. They promoted and supported artists, but we also have to think of the cultural context in which that became possible. You had a cultural context in which individuals found it flattering to their own egos and their vanity to do that kind of sponsorship. The question is, what do we in Ghana do to make it flattering to the people who have the means to do that, to provide that kind of sponsorship and that kind of patronage? If you are looking at two business tycoons in Ghana, one who puts his or her money in promoting, say, sponsoring soccer, versus one who puts his or her money into promoting artists and creative people. If you look at the social context in which we live, which one of them will be popular? Which one of them will be most respected? It is what we do to change that environment, the kind of education we need to do to change that context, which I think we should be looking for.
Yes, and then the deputy minister wants to after the. Oh, it can't be last. There's somebody with a mic, and there's a gentleman who's been dying. So last 3 questions. And then
all right. Everybody that is on the panel, I wanted to thank you for coming and contributing to this conversation. I so agree with Prof. It is a state-funded. I mean, individuals can do their part, but the state needs to make an impact, a national impact. Everything you said, Prof, I totally agree with. We need to recognize our artists. I don't know why the Order of the Volta is not going to some of our artists. Okay, that should be done, because at least if you do that, then you have given people the opportunity to see that there is value in being an artist. And so those are the things that must be done. I come from New York. I'm Sherry Thompson. And I come from places where, Rockefeller Center, Lincoln Center, Guggenheim. And when I was exposed to this, and I have a great mom and dad, I was a little girl. And so for me, art begins in grade school. That's where we need to deal with art. Nobody's going to do proper art, Baba, unless the child learns what that is. Okay? So we can sit here and talk about what we want to do as adults, but I'm handling kids right now, and the behavior change happens at that level. They need to be exposed to the art that we have here. Okay? Baba, I went to your office today, and the amazing things that are sitting in this man's office. I'm ready to bring my kids over just to see. I hope they can come and we can have you talk about, where these things come. I'm going to invade you. I'm saying that now. We have like 74 of them, and we will come. And you're going to have to understand that to me is where we need to begin with this. We can talk all day about everything else, but I'm bringing my 74 kids so that they can see the wealth and the value and the culture that is in your space, so that they can have that foundation and be creative and understand what creativity really means. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Philip Wachikian, and I'd like to be referred to as Nana Assassin for the purpose of this conversation. I'd like to say thank you to the panel for this discussion. However, from my seat in the back, I felt it was a bit limited to the visual arts and probably arts that we can collect. How do I call it? Okay, but I hope we get what I'm talking about. I am coming from a background of performance. For the last 15 years of my life, it's been dedicated to following traditional oral literature, performance, reading contemporary things, and eventually emerging as somebody who practices it full time. I have observed a few things. Let's talk about corporate Ghana versus the art. I used to be in public relations, so I know what I'm talking about. I have sat on boards where we've drawn budgets to support projects that, pardon me, I'm not saying these things are not good, beauty pageants and what have you. There was a particular case where we took a budget. I know the timings for some of these corporate institutions. We took a budget in very good time. It wasn't too much money to ask for, really. We were given assurance, you're getting this, you're getting this. 2 weeks to the event, they would drop with one very, how do I call it? One nice PR phrase we use. Oh, it's not in line with our corporate thing. We would like to sit back and observe at this time. The next thing we knew, we were going so big on one beauty pageant. Pardon me. The purpose of that beauty pageant, I cannot point out today. Let me talk of another thing. Mr. Baba, God really bless you. Before corporates would view the art from your point of view, we'll be making so much progress. Why? People make these corporate rules. The rules are not made to turn men. Men are made to turn the rules. So if this is going to be so beneficial to society, why can the rules not be bent just to make sure that we are pushing some art in the right direction? Really? Because if it gets down to the case of personal commitment to the art, then the person realizes, well, we might be out of our budget, but even personally, I've had people do that. And God bless you. These are the people who have gone on to say, look, probably we might not be able to do this, but then they get individuals, they get their people because it's personal commitment to put hard cash on the line. Another point, bridging the age gaps. My friend was talking about producing contemporary work versus traditional work. You're talking of the original. Okay, I'm a student of history. I learned that back in the day, these traditional industries were commissioned. These were the men who were respected in society. But unfortunately today, who respects a blacksmith in Ghana? But a blacksmith is a fantastic artist. Back in the day, we would be looking for. The army would be in need of a blacksmith. The king would be in need of a blacksmith because he has emissaries from a different kingdom and he has to send them things like this. These are things we need to be encouraging again. Abai, and back to you. Forgive me if my language is not. But I think it's a bit modest. The government has a big responsibility to play. Kwame Nkrumah set the precedents, and I believe the governments subsequently have dictated. What did Nkrumah do? He set up these performance ensembles. Before the president would speak, Jeremy Ekufu would come up and we would hear some beautiful oratory, and then we would know that, yes, this is Ghana. Please. Let's bring these things back because it really breaks my heart when dialogue and somebody, a Japanese was right there. This young woman said she thought a Japanese was there. And this guy felt like falling down and then dying at that point. So please, let us help and promote these things in our homes as well. Let me close with this. I stood before a high panel audience. And I started singing, and all of them started singing, no, they are singing. That's why I stopped and I was like, they were like, yes. It's like, it's when you go home, teach your kids so that they will learn to respect what we have. A man can only be as true as his mother can. That is all we want.
Space for you to do some of your, or we can feel it already. But
in closing, we'll make him give us a nice rendition.
great. But the last question goes to the Deputy Minister. Aban.
I shall always go to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's not really a question, just thoughts on what I've heard this evening. That the state do something about it. But we all forget that the state is made up of people who went to the same universities as I did, where the course that I did was not respected. So by the time people come into positions where they can take decisions, they've already formed their impression about the art. How many people attend the business school or the law school or the school think anything of the School of Performing Arts or the after-start that they are supposed to do to graduate from school? How do they look at that course? So when people come into state and you expect them to be able to make changes that will affect the sector, it's not the people who, exactly, it's not me who is taking the decisions. So I think that we need to start looking at what kind of education we are giving and perhaps to tweak it a bit to favor this discourse, what we want to see in our country. So I'm not responding to our ban this evening. I apologize. Again, artists themselves, creative people, we are in blocks and we have refused to recognize that we need each other, that art is so collaborative, that when painters are doing stuff, it's important for sculptors to be interested in what they're doing, that fashion people should be interested in what the carvers are doing. We are too isolated as art people. I think the earlier we realize that we're in this sector together and support each other, we will not grow because we really are forced. If we came together, we are forced on our own. And I'm sure that we will be more abide than the abide we expect to work. Lastly, I think passion is not transferable, you see, unfortunately. Passion is not transferable. So if I love to dance, everybody knows that. But there's someone who's playing music and themselves cannot dance. So you remain in your corner where that passion that drives you is what you are protecting. And I'm protecting mine. How is that going to make us grow? And we have to, as artists, start looking at, of course, our passion and then the business side of what we do. Now, I listened to you and I thought, okay, so where do we stand in this? The people who have the money to buy, they say this is what we want. You say this is my passion, this is what I want to do. Why do we cross, why do we have the converging point? Where? The person who you want to support is telling you what they want to do, where they want to put their money. You say, hey, don't even tell me where you want to put your money. I'm creative. I'm creating a microphone. And you say you want one with Jiname symbol. I don't do that. Okay, so what you have done, who's going to buy it? This dialogue must continue. This dialogue needs to continue. See, it's important to have contemporary art. It's also very important to have a traditional one, the cultural one, on which to fall on to improve on what, even though if it's not an improvement, to give you a basis to do your contemporary stuff. See, there are two academics here. They'll tell you before they write their book, they have to look at some other books that have been written and base their new book on that one that has been written. So you can't, there can't be a line drawn between the two. There has to be a converging point. And these are the thoughts that I had around the table this evening. And thank you all. There are lots of things that I've written that I hope to be able to do something about, but you can't count on that. We are forced to reckon with. Let's believe in ourselves as well.
Thank you very much. That was the last question, unfortunately. And Joe, we will close now, and I'd like to thank the panelists for what is obviously a very stimulating conversation that perhaps some other time we can pick up on again. All right? All right. So thank you very much, and good night to you all for listening to us and asking such wonderful questions. Keeping the conversation going.
So thank you very much to Uncle Nick, my Papa. Audrey is my
classmate from Ashmota.
Oh, wow. But I'm much younger.
So I've known all this since we were 12 years old, and she hasn't changed. She's always on point. She's very passionate and really about, her whole life's about people. So Audrey, thank you very much for making this course accessible to some of us who are not so smart and so forth. So thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you. My name is Joe Osado, and I happen to be the chairman of RP Africa, who are today hosting IMD, and I'm Coco. We've been doing this for quite a while, this AID, and we thank all of you for making it grow. Your interaction with us and our panelists is what gives us new ideas and for the next event. These events happen at the end of every month. So the last Thursday of every month, and we're going to continue and even broaden it. I just want to share one quick narrative story that happened recently. IMD and Art Africa recently supported the mayor of Accra to exhibit Accra as a city at the recent World Design Capital in Cape Town. I just got back a week and a half ago. And I want to share the story of this with the slides, of how this actually happened. We must give credit to government sometimes, but the mayor created the enabling environment for us to experiment with and exhibit which spoke about modernity and also heritage. So we have this steel and bamboo structure, and the theme of the exhibition was Cape Town and Accra, a tale of two cities. We got there was no money, so going back to the money point, Grantuma, there was no money, but at the end, an angel came through and made it happen, because we never gave up. We had all the right drawings, we had all the right costings, and we kept chipping down, or as I say in architecture, value engineering the process till we got to a point where we thought it was affordable. So there's a symbiotic relationship between government and us. I can assure you, with proper planning, you actually drive the process, which is, because we have the intellectual resources to actually put all this together. The people in Joburg, in Cape Town, and also here, who kind of, supported. We thought it was a very important initiative as an NGO. We need to move from just talking to actually doing. And so that's where Africa is at the moment. We have a whole slew of new projects which are enterprise-based rather than receiving money to have more workshops and more talk shops. And so I encourage all of us, but as individuals, we have a very important role to play. Never, never give up. And we thank our Medicis for making this happen, because there was a Medici who actually made the Cape Town exhibit happen on behalf of the city of Accra. So we thank you. And the word Medici for us, it's not the physical or the fiscal, it's a state of mind. We are all Medicis. Thank you very much indeed. I would like to give some gifts to our panelists. This is a very important, interesting product. This is the Little Sun solar lamp. Could somebody open up for me? In this era of doom so, this is the most important product in the market. This product was designed by the Danish artist Olafur Eliasson, who will answer your point. He does extremely contemporary art, but he also does product because he understands that he needs to commercialize his talent. That's the magic about this. So I call this art in your hands. It's a simple solar lamp, and we all know there are many solar lamps on the market, but this is quite special. You can see it's coming from a creative place. I think us artists, we need to recognize it. It's not about the one-off. The public need access to what we produce. So on that note, I'm giving all our Medicis. They all have huge generators anyway, but this is symbolic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And our honorable minister, I think you have about 5 generators for this one. So thank you very much, and we'll see you at the end of next month. Thanks again.
All his ice works, shooting to create the ice and all that. These are all works that it takes the